Good evening. We're here. You can hear me anyway. We're here for the association members meeting of the board of directors. This is July the 18th. It's 6:30 p.m. at the clubhouse at 4801 Lakeside Club Boulevard.
There you go. Now you're on, Tom.
Okay. I'd like to have just a moment of silence for Frank Grabowski, who passed recently, and after that we'll go to the pledge. Jim, would you call the roll, please?
President Tommy McIntyre.
Here.
Vice President Janet Mirando.
Here.
Treasurer Scott Harris.
He's here.
That was a here.
He's walking around the neighborhood.
There's music in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we can't see you though.
John Fricker. Here. Ken Jerome. Mike Lalonde. Here.
I guess you're both absent.
And Jim Tucker is here. Our manager, Eric.
Was this meeting properly noticed?
Yes, it was.
Thank you. Open forum, Michelle Locke.
Yeah, me again. Last month I gave out a community notice about something that is happening in and around our community that's illegal. I have additional copies of it if anybody wants it. I also have another document that goes along with that I'll give to the board. But I have two questions. One, I mentioned to Eric already, I was hoping we could address again getting dog waste containers on the opposite side of the lake, one or two of them, because you can literally walk a dog completely around the lake and not have any place to throw away. And the second question I have is, I wanted to know about the condo that was quit claim to us. Is that going to show up as an asset on our balance sheet, or is that not owned by the association?
It is not an asset.
Okay. So how is it, so we don't own it?
We have title to it, but we're not subject to mortgage. We're the second lien. The mortgage is superior to us.
So once it's foreclosed, we will not own it?
Once it's foreclosed, we will not own it, and it will go to a foreclosure sale where we can enforce our judgment. And we usually bid up to our judgment amount. If somebody overbids that, then we're paid in full and very, very happy.
Oh.
If not, then we will have title subject to the bank foreclosure, which can sometimes take time, sometimes happen quickly, sometimes we negotiate with the bank and make some things happen to make sure that we're made whole. The problem, if we just allow the bank to come in and foreclose the property, is Florida has a bank safe harbor act that the association is paid with 1 year of dues or 1% of the mortgage, whichever is less. So if we don't take any action in the intermediary time to try to recoup some of this money, in a unit like this where it's about $12,000 or $13,000, we just wait for the bank, we're going to end up getting about $1,000 back. 1% of the mortgage is always what it is in here. So we try to mitigate that by doing this.
Yeah, I just didn't
I think there's a good
understand.
chance we'll be made whole on this one.
Yeah, I just didn't understand how that worked. Thank you. So is there gonna be any discussion about the pet thing?
We don't discuss it at this time. We will look into it
Okay.
and bring an answer back to you next month.
Okay. And if anybody wants a copy of that community notice, I'm gonna leave some on the back table. This is actually something you can verify yourself just by looking up above Pine Ridge. And I'll put these out on the back table here. That's not very nice, Dennis. You don't make comments about that, do that to your neighbor.
You know, we have a question, Michelle, after your meeting, or after last month's meeting. You said that there was stalking occurring here in our community. Do you have any evidence of that?
Well, I do have photographic evidence, I have video evidence.
Did you send it to the sheriff?
I have spoken to the sheriff's department doesn't want to deal with it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I have a motion to either read or waive the minutes of last month's meeting?
I move that we waive the reading of the minutes from last month since they were posted.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Manager's report?
Much of what I would address in my report is actually on the agenda under old business tonight. But I do have some things I want to report on. Later on in the old business part, we'll talk about the hallway flooring and the changing insurance companies as well as the walk path. Let me touch on it a little bit here in my report as well. But I want to talk about landscaping. A few people have come to me concerning landscapers are falling a little bit behind on trimming. I reached out to the GM of the landscape company to express those concerns. And he apologized that apparently they're having some minor staffing issues. They've been coming up, we have them scheduled every other Saturday to have a crew up here in the summertime because everything grows so quickly. They've been sending the crew leader on the other Saturdays to make up for some of the time during the week when they've had that staffing issue and we were down one man. We're going to monitor the situation and get it under control. What's happening is, in addition to the staffing issues, 5 or 6 years ago, when I came on board here, the board approved us to re-landscape the whole community, and we put in, I can't remember how many thousand shrubs all around the community. And 5 or 6 years later, they've really matured and grown as nice, and as they mature and get established, they start to grow even faster, and they just require a little more TLC. There's more to trim off, there's more to pick up, there's more. So it does take longer. That's why we added every other Saturday to our schedule. My hope is that we can address it with the company. They can get things straightened out and back to normal without having to add any additional time. But if we need to bring extra hands in, we will. Overall, the place looks pretty good. If you didn't know, you really wouldn't notice the trouble spots, but I do, and I'm sure many of you do. So we're going to work on getting that under control and keep the landscaping as perfect as we like. We like to have it just about perfect all the time. There's some tree trimming that needs to be done. We did a lot of tree trimming back in February, but as I go through this community, I'm seeing branches that are hanging down very low. I'm seeing branches hanging over homes and structures and things like that that just So I've gone through with our tree trimmer and we've compiled a list of actually quite a bit that needs to be done, I think, in advance of any tropical storm or hurricane. So he's working up a proposal and we hope to get him in here right away to do that stuff because it's very important. The less we have up in the air that can, what's hazardous is the less we're gonna have on the ground. If you were here last year, you saw what we had on the ground. So not only is it good for the tree, but it's also good for us to make it safe here. We also have another big tree that some of the roots have started to cause some plumbing problems, 2 units. That's gonna be a big one, has to come down, because we don't want it to get any worse and have these costly repairs. And that's kind of what happens when you have some of these mature trees very, very close to the homes. It can happen if there's a drain pipe, say, and nobody in this room, don't be concerned, you would know if it was your unit. But like say a drain pipe, if the pipe springs a little bit of a leak and that water source is there, the roots will gravitate toward it and grow and just clog the entire thing up, and it can really cause a backup into somebody's unit. So we have to be aware of that. We have to really watch these trees. They can do damage in a number of ways. So we'll keep you updated on that. If you see the tree trimmers in here, you know, that's what they're doing. If you have a tree or a branch that you're concerned about, more likely than not, it's probably already on our list, but feel free to leave me a note or a work order, and we will look at it. If it's not on the list and it is appropriate to be trimmed, we will try to get that included as well. That's something we'll have to talk to the budget committee. Going in, especially after the storm, it makes you really cognizant of this stuff. You may want to budget a little extra money next year on tree trimming because it's important. We're talking about the walk path overlay later in the meeting, but I just want to tell you some of the preparations that we are doing. We're going to be removing sod along the pathway about 4 inches, so that way they can overlap what's there and create a nice clean finished look, whereas right now you kind of have a wavy, snaky type look of a walking path, so it should really be a nice professional job. We're also going to temporarily remove all the landscape lighting, those Malibu lights that are around the lake. That's to prevent them from being damaged during the construction, but it will also give us the opportunity to reinstall them properly where they're standing up straight and replace any parts that maybe don't look that great or aren't working properly, and kind of give an added refurbishment to the pathway around the lake. Irrigation is an issue with that, where there's probably about 100 flags around the lake right now. We're not celebrating any holidays or anything. It's, we flag where the irrigation heads are, and there's several of them that will have to be, we'll deactivate them temporarily, and then we'll move them to an appropriate location after the pathway is complete and determine where that would best be. We don't want the path to be undermined by water, because that's what's caused some of the areas of trouble now. Then coming off of the buildings, there are 5 walkways off of the buildings leading onto the walking path that have very narrow and very poor condition pathways. They're very uneven, and I would imagine it would be tough to walk on, especially at night if you can't see where you're going. And they're very narrow. So we're going to go ahead and level those out and expand them to make them wheelchair accessible. And that's going to be something that I think is especially in our community and I think overall. I'm surprised we got away with it for so long without having a wheelchair accessible. So this is a very good thing. We installed our irrigation weather station. I don't know if anybody has noticed the antenna over there. That is to monitor the winds, the sun, the rain, the moisture in the soil. And what it does is it helps us comply with our permit from South Florida Water Management District. We talked about it last month when the board voted to approve this, but while we own the lake, we own that lake and the property that the lake is on, we do not own the water. That water is property of the South Florida Water Management District. When I found that out, I tried to call them and tell them to get their water out of here. It didn't work. I guess that's not the way it works. So, but we're only allowed to use X amount of water per year for irrigation purposes. And right now, like when it's raining every single day, we can really bank a lot of water to use when we need it. Irrigation systems have rain sensors on them, but if anybody's ever worked on those, they fail frequently. That's why everybody sees sprinklers on while it's raining. So this is really going to come in handy. They're definitely, we've had inspectors from the Water Management District here 2 or 3 times since the hurricane. I don't know if the storm is something that maybe triggered them looking a little closer into what we're doing, but in 5.5 years that I worked here prior to that, we hadn't seen one inspector. So, and it's important, we don't want to be on the wrong side of that. There's fines and things like that. Our generator has been installed. We reported that last month. Over the course of this month, we took several opportunities to fill it up with gas and run it for an extended period of time, carrying the full load of the clubhouse. And the air conditioner, everything works beautifully on it, actually. Computers, internet, we have the works here. Not to say in a storm that you'll have that because the internet and cable may be out, but it was definitely, we calculated things right and it worked pretty well. We're going to use special fuel, ethanol-free fuel, so the unit runs well. And Andy was very helpful. He gave our maintenance guys a lesson on maintenance on the machine to make sure that it's maintained perfectly. It's a fairly expensive generator. It's the second largest portable generator that you can buy. But I think having the air on in case of an emergency is going to be really good, especially with some of our older residents. Hopefully we don't have to use it. We worked on the floor in here. We waxed and cleaned the floor of the house last week. And one thing that we noticed are there's some areas that are getting scratched. And I was trying to figure out what could be scratching them. And what we came up with were not necessarily the brown chairs that most of you are sitting in, but these blue chairs that we use for bingo and parties that have a lot of people over. People have wet bathing suits. If you look at the bottom of them, some of them have metal, kind of almost looks like a bottle cap type of base. And we tried to put those felt ones on when we first got to the floor, and those didn't really work out that well. So we're going to look into another solution, whether it be getting different chairs, where there's some soft type things that can go up over the legs of the chairs when we have to use them. But in the meantime, just be careful sliding around back and forth and stuff like that with the chairs, especially those blue ones, because as you can see, some of those scuffs and things will come out. Some of them won't, but we'll do the best we can. Overall, I mean, it looks much better in here and bigger and it's important, but it is not one thing. The bingo board and the kiosk took a lightning surge while it was down for a couple of weeks. We got it all repaired. The kiosk itself needed a new power supply, and the bingo board needed a new communications board. While the bingo board was out, they cleaned everything and really gave us a nice refurbishment job while they're working on it. I don't anticipate any more problems with it for a while, just so long as we take some precautions. One thing we're going to do is not have it plugged into the wall unless the bingo game is definitely going on. What we used to do is get it out and set it up and have it all ready to go for bingo. But then when that 4 o'clock lightning storm hits, there's a chance it's going to hit. So right now we'll leave it disconnected until the game starts, and I think the bingo players have gotten the hang of hooking that up. Last month, we had some questions about what we're doing on the roofing situation with Crown Roofing, and we have to be very careful what we talk about related sensitive topic while it's actively being pursued. But an attorney for Crown Roofing has reached out to our attorney about scheduling inspections to determine what action needs to be taken to correct any roofing issues. The way it works is we send out a notice called a 558 notice, notifying them of the problems, and they have something like 120 days, I don't have it in front of me, to respond to that and request to inspect and see what's there. So they've done that. We're currently working on scheduling these inspections and to what extent they want to inspect. We don't necessarily show them our whole hands, they can go in and look for themselves, but we're gonna coordinate that. They may need to do some interior inspections, that will involve going up into people's attics. One thing I will ask is if you're present during one of these inspections, if you have to go into your unit, or if you observe the inspections going on outside, keep in mind that this is an active legal matter, and it could, may or may not go forward. We don't want to say anything or reveal any information or really communicate with them at all. All communications have to go through our attorney. So if we have to come into your unit and go into the attic, I would ask them not to interfere or point out this or that. Let the process work its way through. It'll either be myself with the representatives or a site inspection coordinator who does this type of thing for a living. Because you want to be very, very, very careful what we say, what we do. Everything should go through our attorney so we can get it done properly and in the most expeditious manner. We've been negotiating with Comcast. We outlined the offers that we had from them, and we didn't really have a strong negotiating position because we had no alternative. We reached out to all the big guys, and Dish Network is the one that we've talked to, and they've come out, surveyed the property, and given us a proposal that's been distributed to the board. They're starting to look through it. It's a good proposal, just as I think the Comcast proposal is a good proposal. They're different. And I think just having a plan B allows us to more effectively negotiate with the plan A. But there's pluses and minuses to both. I know the board will be talking about it moving forward, not this month, but we wanted to let you know that we do have two viable options on the table. For continuity's sake, I think Comcast is good, but the other side may have some different benefits too, so we can look at that both. And once we have some concrete solutions to present, I think we'll try and reconvene the committee, and rather than present you guys a problem and interview different companies, we're going to bring different solutions and see what the committee thinks of those solutions. And that's all I have for my manager's report. I'm going to save the rest of it until we get to old business.
Thank you, Eric. Treasurer's report.
I have the financial statement as of noon today, but we'll get that later. We'll get Pamela to get copies out of that. But Eric and I follow the bills every week, so we're good. The rest of this we'll talk about later. Our community insurance for this year, we paid the premium and the money for the walkway path. Those are our two major expenditures, and those are both on the budget. On the agenda later, so we'll talk about that. Okay. I just made a note of something I wanted to talk about when I come back down in September, and it involves performance bonuses for contractors, and that will be strictly on a exceed expectations basis. Eric's really good about negotiating your contracts and gets them down. And if somebody does an exceptional job, I think we ought to budget a little bit for a bonus, maybe. I think it's a little bit more attractive, and So the best contractors don't think that they're going to have to come back and work so hard to get the job when they're here. And that gives us a nice list of people. What I was thinking about was after Irma, we were really lucky because we had good relationships with vendors and contractors, and that put us first in line when it came to doing repairs and that sort of thing. That's something we can talk about later. The final good news is that there's significant issues in accounts receivable. People that were behind are catching up. The other things seem to be under control. And that's it. As always, the Association of Financial Documents are always available for your review in the office.
Thank you, Scott. I was gone most of the month, so I don't have a whole lot to say, except I want you all to know that our manager's finally getting almost old enough to apply. So he had a birthday yesterday. 33 big ones. Are there any committee reports to be made?
Not here.
I was not here to collect the water, but Brett collected it, and Gene Picciano took it over and brought back our report, and everything's fine as usual. Any other reports? Okay, we'll move on to old business and back to listen to Eric again. He would like to bring us on an update on the hallway flooring.
We completed the sample hallway that we talked about last month that we were working on. It's at 4661 Lakeside Club Boulevard in the southeast hallway. So it's the lakeside closest to the clubhouse. 4661 is the second building after you come in the gate through the stop sign on your left. And I've had a lot of positive reviews on this one. We tweaked the formula, we tweaked the texture and the color slightly, and it turned out really well. It looks good and it's functional. The texture that we're using, this is ADA approved, which I think is ADA approved. That just gives it a little more credibility as far as anti-skid, anti-slip, and we went in there and put water on it, tried to slip, and we still can't. So it seems like that has worked out pretty well. We had a lot of compliments. In order to get an accurate cost basis for this project, this one that we did, removing the mastic, which is the glue underneath the carpet, I don't know if you've seen where we've removed some of it. It is 30 years worth of glue. I think they put carpet down however many times and they just glued right over the old glue. And in order to properly do this, you have to get it completely off. So we tried every machine that they had out there. We had a scraper that had a 600-pound weight on it to try and get it, all different types of things. And what worked is, of course, the last thing we tried, and that's just a basic angle grinder but with a special blade on it that's made to remove mastic without damaging the concrete. We are going to proceed with 4 more. We've already removed the carpeting. Tomorrow we'll begin removing the glue. We've been using some day labor. We've been bringing them in for help in order to do this because we don't have enough hands here on staff and they have to do their normal jobs while they're here. And it's worked out pretty well with the day laborers so far. If we found a couple that we like, we could hang on to them, if we wanted to. I think it's much smarter to go that route with something like removing glue that takes really no skill, just a lot of hard work, than pay between $30,000 and $50,000, which is what the one company that I could get to agree to do it, so they would do it for me. That price leads me to believe that they really don't want to do it. So we're gonna get a cost basis by doing these four, it'll basically be the sum of an entire building. 4661 will be completed, and then one hallway in the next building. And then I can come back to the board and report where we are. Expected to come in less expensive than what we have budgeted, which will be a very good thing. And I think this will hold up for a very, very long time. If you go look at it, I actually even took a paint scraper to it, the sharpest razor blade, and tried to scrape it off and scratch it. They couldn't make a mark. Not to say it'll never happen, someone moving furniture and things like that, but the good thing about this is we can touch it up versus where, you know, with the carpeting, if somebody's dog had an accident or something like that, it's kind of in there. So that's another bonus. But take a look at those steps. Let us know if you have any questions, comments, concerns about them. But I think it's an improvement. I think it makes the buildings look newer too. The carpeting kind of dated. I brought some pictures in. If people want to see it at the end of the meeting, you can come up here. But this is the after, and this is kind of what it was before. So, you know, I know some people may like before, but I think the majority will like.
Some people like red.
So feel free coming up. You can take a look at these pictures when it's, when the meeting is over. So that's what I wanted to say about that. If all works out with this next set and we can get the cost to the right level, we're going to proceed. I think that's what the board wants to do. And we're going to work it in a couple different ways. One will be which ones are the worst. We have these that the carpet was torn and taped up and prevented from tripping. We wanted to address those. From there, we'll do the ones that are the worst, that have hazard type situations, the trip and fall situations. And we're also going to look at who's here and who's not here and try to minimize the impact on the residents. So if there's a hallway with nobody or maybe just one person, we're going to try to knock that one out of the way and minimize that inconvenience for people.
Okay, thank you. We also need an update on the scheduling of the work on the path that you mentioned earlier.
Yes. So this week, today, tomorrow, and Friday, we're going to be working on preparations, making adjustments to the irrigation system, as I said, opening up the areas where we're widening paths and adding onto the end of Sailview Court. If you live at the building, already at the end of Sailview Court, the parking lot of the first or the far half of the building is going to have to be closed starting next week, Monday the 23rd. And hopefully we can have it open back up by Friday or Monday and get the heavy equipment out of there. But that's going to have to be our staging area because it's the best access point for them to transfer the asphalt from the big truck to the little truck so they can go out there and pave it properly. So we're going around, we're letting people know who park in that parking lot, but if anybody's in here that lives in that area, we'll cone it off and have it barricaded, but please steer clear there. There's heavy equipment that we don't want to damage. We also don't want to damage your car, and we definitely don't want anyone to get hurt. We're going to begin Monday, July 23rd. Weather permitting, the path will be complete on July 31st. We're going to need 1 week on or before July 31st. We're going to then keep the path closed to all traffic and to allow the asphalt to cure, especially with the heat that we're going through, that we have down here. We have to give it a little more time, but we hope to reopen it to walkers and joggers 1 week after, which would be August 6th, Monday. If it hasn't cured in time, that date may be adjusted, but our goal would be to open it August 6th. And then we'd like to hold it for 2 more weeks after that until the 20th of October, or of August, the 20th of August. before we open up to bicycles and golf carts and those types of things that carry a little more weight. But looking at the plans and the preparations, I think it's going to turn out really well, and we're going to have a much improved walking path that make a big difference in the community. When they're here to do the asphalt for the walking path, we are going to have them do some roadway repairs. You know, we had to switch contractors, and while they're charging us a little bit more for the overlay, to make up for it, they're giving us a break on the repairs. So we're going to try to have as much of the repairs done by them while they're here, as well as they're going to repair the asphalt on the tennis court. When that's done, that takes a little bit longer to cure. It's a different type of asphalt that they use. So that tennis court will remain closed from that point until the resurfacing is complete. I don't have a date set on that because I'm not sure how the curing process is going to work for what they call virgin asphalt that they use there. But we'll keep you updated on that. Please stay clear of any areas, any of these construction areas while they're under construction. We're going to have everything blocked off to make it as safe as we can, but you can't stress enough, please be careful. Let these guys get in here, complete the job, and get out so we can get our walking path back to normal, but I do not want anyone getting hurt or having any of those types of things happen during this construction project. So 23rd we start, 31st we'll finish, the 6th you guys can go walk, and then 2 weeks after that, the 20th, we can get back to riding golf carts and bikes and all that other good stuff.
Okay, thank you, Eric. As Scott mentioned, we still have the same broker with Brown & Brown, our insurance, but we've changed our carrier from American Coastal to Heritage. They are the premiums are less, and we have better coverage, and so we saved about 9% of our original budget on that. This is old business, but we didn't get it on the agenda. Mainly because I wasn't around, and this was what was brought up at the meeting at the last meeting, and I had contact with a former resident here, and we wanted to, at that time, this was a long time ago, we wanted to build a waterfall out at our gate fountain. And that was not passed by the board. But Bill Byers and I wanted it. So we're still going to work on that, look into some solutions on making that a little more attractive out front. So we'll get back to that. Hopefully we'll get something done by the end of the month, but who knows with all the other things that we're doing here, what's going to happen. New business. It was suggested to us that since there are very few tennis players and quite a few pickleball players, that we convert the tennis court into four pickleball courts. Yeah, you can come up and take a look at a picture that he has. So this has to go before the board, and I'm not the board, has to go before the community as a vote, since we'll be changing our amenities. So we'd just like your input, the people that are here. What do you think about it? Do you think it's a bad idea? Then fine. If you think it's a good idea, then let us know. So, just sending out some feelers. So any other new business to bring before the board? No? Okay, we have time for some questions and answers of the stuff we discussed. Shannon, come up to the phone, please. Microphone.
I know it's a surprise, I have a question. One of the things about when we're bringing in the day laborers, I noticed, how are they, is somebody managing them? Because I know I was out walking and I saw somebody who looked like they didn't belong in here. And I started to think about it, and then I was like, I ran into someone else, they said, oh, that's one of the day laborers. But there was nobody with them, there was no way of identifying.
We can't stay with them all day long, but we assign them a task and then we check up on them regularly. And if they're not moving along, we send them on their way and we get somebody who does.
Would it be possible to, and this is just a suggestion, is to maybe go and buy some really bright green shirts or bright yellow shirts or whatever and have them wear it that day so that we know that they're a day laborer? So that when we encounter somebody that we know that situation, I don't know, it's just an idea. Maybe I'm being open.
Thank you. We'll talk about that.
Lime green safety shirts.
Well, we have those shirts from the transportation department. And so if they, I think we'd have to see if they object to wearing those, you know. So we'll look into it. We'll see if you can identify them somehow, Shannon.
Thank you very much.
Anything else? Paul?
I'd just like to thank you, all the board, for the work you've done the last several years. There hasn't been a significant change in the composition of the board, although I know this year that we've got John and Jim on, and I think they'll be positive contributors. But I've always said, back even in the olden days when I served on the board back in 11, 12, 13, that I think probably the number one objective of the board should be to protect the investment of the property holders. And I think you guys, we did a few things back then and we've carried on, but I think you guys have done a tremendous job in doing that. I tell you a real quick story. The first year I was on the board, a guy came in and to me while I was president, we were talking about the insurance. And he said, I got a hell of a deal for you. He said, I think you'll be happy. I'm reducing your premium from $377,000 to $365,000. If you do the math right now, the premium from then till now, based on a whole lot of people negotiating, is down $167,000 a year. So I think anybody that is worrying about or thinking about, have we protected and have you protected our investment, we have done that. And I really want to thank that young man. And I want to get a little. I'm going to get a little emotional because back in 2012, I went back to Indiana when I was president of the board, and I got a call from the CAM, and they had given us 2 weeks' notice that they were leaving, and they'd only been here a few months. I called Jerry Long at the time, who I had appointed us to replace me while I was going up to Indiana for a few months this summer, and I said, I'd like you to get Craigslist and wherever else you can, find 10 or 12 people, get the board members to negotiate and evaluate them, get the top 3, and then call me. And they called me, and they said, these are the top 3. And this young man, Eric Gray, is a head and shoulders case. He's by far the best. I called Eric, we talked for about an hour on the phone. And when I was working for GM, I did a lot of interviewing of people, and you get fairly good at it. It's kind of a crapshoot, but I could tell what a special young man he was. So I asked, and he told me, this is the kind of guy he is. Most 27-year, at the time he was 27. Most young men at that age kind of have their heads in the clouds, you know, and if they could get a job in a real upscale community, they're going to do that. And he told me that he had an interview the next day at 3 o'clock. And we had talked about a salary figure for him, and he agreed to it. So I said, if I call you by noon tomorrow and offer you the job, will you not take the job that you got an afternoon interview with? He said, no, I won't. I'll take this job. And long story short, I called Jerry, told him to get a consensus of the board and call me back. And then I called Eric, and he took the job. And we were talking maybe 2 or 3 months down the road, and I said, you know, what kind of an opportunity did you turn down to interview? And he said it was a brand new community, very upscale community, but I would be the first cam. And I knew that the only way I could go is down, because I got no way to improve on, because I had to go down. Now most young kids wouldn't think that way. Most young kids would have said, oh my God, I've got a chance for this job, I'm going to take it. So, and he said, when I knew Pine Ridge, when I drove through Pine Ridge, I knew that there were some improvements that we could make. And I told him after I got off the board in 2013 that he would not be allowed to leave until either I died or moved.
He's not allowed to.
Anyway, as some of you have heard, Linda and I are moving back to Indiana in the next month, and you're allowed to move, but I will tell you this, whoever's serving up here, along with the backing of these people out here, should do everything you can to keep him, because I can't tell you the amount of money that he has saved us, how much he's improved the whole community, and we all owe him a debt of gratitude. And going forward, all I can tell you is God bless every one of you, and I wish you nothing but the best in the future. Thank you.
We've got,
I have one last one. Is that okay?
yes.
You had your time.
I have.
Paul, I want to thank you. You're not allowed to move. I think if we took a consensus around here, we would not want to lose either one of you. And I just want to thank you for what you've done with the community. I have not been here the whole time, but I've been here a good part of it. And you have set a lot of things in motion. You've set a lot of things in order. And we have then been able to come along and take care of it. And you will be greatly missed in this community. And I don't know who's going to come along and fill your shoes, because you're kind of like an overseer that we just kind of all have, and we like that. But again, I want to thank you too.
Yes, thank you. I know I served on the board with Paul back in those olden days. And we had some knockdown dragouts in here. Thank goodness he, along with the other people, we've changed the rules enough that you seem pretty happy. Thank you, Paul. Any other comment? Man?
You gotta go to the microphone. You gotta go to the microphone.
I wanted to know about the parking lines. Do you know the date when you're going to be on the parking lots?
No, that's been postponed until we get the other big projects done.
Okay.
Because of the big machines.
Yeah, we have to have the seal coating done, and the repairs done before the seal coating.
Yeah, then you want to.
Anything else? Come on, please. And I don't recognize I don't have your name, so.
My name's Laura. Hi. I want to know about the railings. Are we going to get, because I got pinched on mine, as you can see, all the skin on. I wanted to know if they were going to replace the railings to the steps.
We're not going to replace the railings, but the railing needs repair. I don't know, that's kind of a pinch.
I just slid that way and it got caught in the corner. And the skin peeled off, but I put it back so it's okay.
Oh.
Maybe you can show me where that happened, we can get some of
of them like where they meet are becoming loose.
Okay, and that'll be tight.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check on.
Thank you.
I think you all agree we've had a very good ending.
Yes.
To our very touching ending to our program today. We are now adjourned.